It's the week of May the 4th, which means nerds and geeks everywhere are celebrating the Star Wars franchise. Hi, my name's Zach, and today, leading up to May the 4th, we are going to be ranking the Star Wars trilogies, starting with the original trilogy. Before we get started, like many of you, I started this YouTube channel because I cannot watch a movie without needing to talk about it afterwards. And if that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, I want this to be a conversation, a dialogue between me and you. So be sure to list your ranking down below in the comment section. How would you rank the original Star Wars trilogy? And give me some context in there. When did you first watch Star Wars? Were you there all the way back in 1977 for the premiere? Did you watch it later on VHS as a kid, on streaming maybe this year for the very first time? Comment down below, let me know. With all that out of the way, let's get started with number 3. Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Ironically, my least favorite of the original trilogy today was my favorite of the original trilogy as a kid. Because there's no denying that Return of the Jedi, what it has going for it, is a fantastic beginning and a phenomenal ending, where the film begins, you're at Jabba's palace, you're trying to rescue Han Solo. Luke Skywalker looks like he's been captured, they're taking him to the Sarlacc pit, boom, big battle breaks out. It's like the first half an hour of the film is just this epic kind of side quest in and of itself of Luke and all the characters, Leia, Lando, trying to rescue their friend Han and getting the one-up over Jabba the Hutt, who you've heard about over the entire trilogy. If you watched the special edition, you saw him in New Hope, but I had just Star Wars on the VHS as a kid, so I did not see Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope. I saw Jabba the Hutt for the first time, as it should be seen, in Return of the Jedi. It wraps up that storyline that's been sprinkled out throughout the entire trilogy so nicely. Then when you get to the climax of the film, the redemption of Darth Vader is done so incredibly well, with not just the battle going on between Luke and Vader as the Emperor is taunting Luke, trying to get him to break and join the dark side of the Force. That was a terrible Palpatine. But when you do get to that moment where Darth Vader saves his son, throws the Emperor over that shaft, he falls down, blows up, the Death Star blows up, we lose Darth Vader with it. It's such a poignant, satisfying ending to the character of Darth Vader, where you feel, even in the original trilogy in itself, you feel the complete arc of Darth Vader come around. You feel Luke step into his own as a Jedi at this point. I love the beginning. I love the end. It's that middle section as I've gotten older that has really worn on me, where when it comes to Empire Strikes Back, which is the film before this, I feel like that was my least favorite as a kid, because as I've gotten older, as a kid, I wasn't able to appreciate the nuances, the spirituality that's being introduced and the mythology and the lore that's being introduced in The Empire Strikes Back. As a kid, it was a little bit of a slower burn for me. As an adult, I love it more. We'll talk about more of that in a minute. But in Return of the Jedi, when it comes to that whole section on Endor with the Ewoks, as a kid, I thought the Ewoks were cute and adorable, and it was kind of fun. I love the biker speed chase that goes on in the forest. I still enjoy that to this day. But nowadays, when I get to the section in the middle of this film of Endor, I feel the film slows way down. It gets a little bit goofier. It gets a little bit more kiddie, let's be honest, than Empire and Star Wars did, where those were kid-friendly films. Both kids and adults were able to enjoy Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back on the same level. Return of the Jedi does feel like, especially in that second act on Endor, it's aiming specifically for the younger crowd. The beginning, the end, totally on par. Kids, adults can enjoy that equally. It's that middle section that, as I've gotten older, has just gotten a little bit slower, a little worse for me. So I still enjoy Return of the Jedi. I think overall it's still a fantastic ending to the original trilogy. But what was once my favorite of the original trilogy, and my favorite Star Wars in general as a kid, it's down to my least favorite of the original trilogy. But it's still enjoyable. And for our runner-up, Star Wars A New Hope, or just Star Wars as it was called back in the day, and on my VHS tape, as I'm sure it was for a lot of you guys as well. And really, this is the film why we have May the 4th as Star Wars Day. It was such a culturally impactful phenomenon that obviously I was not alive for, but is still impacting generations as it impacted my generation before it and many, many, many generations before that. It is basically, when you boil it down, it is George Lucas's interest in one frame, where he took from all this fantasy and mythology and religion stuff that he was interested in. You got the old serials he used to watch as a kid. You've got Flash Gordon, which was a big influence as well on this film. You got all these elements of George Lucas's life, basically, that he took inspiration from, put them all together, blended these genres, and then put it on the screen as Star Wars. And it was one of those films that, as a kid, for me personally, as I'm sure it was when it first came out, was mind-blowing. Like there was nothing else on any VHS tape that I owned that was like Star Wars, where the adventure here is just so full of excitement and life, and the characters here are so memorable, and they're dynamic. Han, Luke, Leia, Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, Darth Vader, they all have such memorable moments and character traits and interactions with each other that while this is a fun fantasy adventure film with lightsabers, laser swords, and laser beams and guns shooting lasers, there's also just this inherent hero's journey with the Luke Skywalker character that is just so relatable as a kid, as it is as an adult. As a film lover, as a filmmaker lover, I just love all the practical effects in this film. This film has only gotten better for me as I've gotten older, and I've learned more as what's gone into making Star Wars. The Light and Magic documentary series that they put out on Disney Plus a few years back, they've got a season 2 out right now, where they kind of went deep dive into what ILM had to do to create the effects, these innovative and groundbreaking cinematic effects that still hold up for the majority to this day, is so impressive. The story is so fun. The characters are so fun. Even all these years later, Star Wars A New Hope, or we'll just call it Star Wars, is still one of the best Star Wars has ever given us. Which is going to bring us to our number one, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. And as much as Star Wars is, of course, the phenomenon, the cultural impact that it had in 77, that makes May the 4th Star Wars Day, I can't help but feel that The Empire Strikes Back almost needs a little bit more credit to why we have May the 4th and why we still have Star Wars to this day. Because where Star Wars was this fun adventure space fantasy, what The Empire Strikes Back did was it took all of those elements, all of the fantasy and serial and Flash Gordon and genres that George Lucas blended together, and they refined it, and they were able to go deeper into their mythology of Star Wars, where this does go deeper into what is the Force, what is the Jedi, as Luke goes off to be trained as a Jedi. We get a deeper look spiritually as to what is a Jedi when we get introduced to yet another iconic character of Yoda in this film. This film is also very brave at the time, and still to this day, how it doesn't just redo Star Wars. It really does take these characters to a completely new place, takes the franchise in a new direction. It goes deeper into the lore. It goes deeper into these characters, where you've got Han and Leia separated from Luke as Luke is diving deeper into his insecurities as he's trying to train to be a Jedi with Yoda. You've got Han and Leia exploring their romantic chemistry while they're trying to flee from the Empire. Speaking of the Empire, this is the film that to me makes Darth Vader Darth Vader, because in Star Wars, Darth Vader is of course there. He's intimidating. He's kind of a glorified bodyguard when you really look at his role in Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back, he's the villain. He's front and center. He's force choking fools left and right. There's no messing around with Darth Vader in this film, to the point that by the end of this film, they actually let Darth Vader beat our hero Luke Skywalker. It was one of the most crazy things as a kid when Luke gets his hand chopped off. He falls down, gets picked up, but the heroes, they lose Han Solo. They don't win this time around. They had the confidence to leave the audience there for 3 years back in 1980. For me, I was fortunate enough, I just popped in Return of the Jedi as soon as this film ended, but it leaves you with this sense of defeat with so many questions left over, from the "I am your father" iconic moment to "there is another." There's so much that Empire Strikes Back does, where it shows the confidence that Star Wars had at the time, where they knew they were going to get to fulfill all of these mysteries that they leave for the audience. And I would have to kick myself, like I was kicking myself just a little bit earlier when I was talking about Star Wars, if I don't mention John Williams' score here, because there are so many iconic Star Wars scores that come from The Empire Strikes Back. The Imperial March, this is where that comes from. Han and Leia's theme, Yoda's theme, the music that John Williams does in The Empire Strikes Back is so beautiful. It's so resonating. It's so memorable that we're remembering it all these decades later, and we'll remember it for more decades to come. The Empire Strikes Back is Star Wars at its best. It's Star Wars at its peak. In my opinion, it's why Star Wars has stuck around for as long as it has. It comes in at number 1. If you like videos like this, I've got a playlist right up there of other Star Wars rankings, including the TV shows and the trilogies individually. Also, down below right there is the most recently uploaded video to the channel you can check out. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't just watch movies, talk movies. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.